Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have all the luck? Well, let's debunk a common myth today. Success is not about luck or talent. It's about persistence, the relentless pursuit of your goals. Let's take a trip down history lane, shall we? Remember Thomas Edison, the man who lit up our world, literally. But did you know, before his brilliant invention of the light bulb, he made over 1,000 unsuccessful attempts? That's right, over 1,000. But he didn't stop. He kept going. He understood the power of persistence. He knew that each failed attempt was a step closer to success. And guess what? He was right. So next time you think about giving up, remember Edison. Remember that it's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up. As Thomas Edison once said, our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. What happens when you face an obstacle so big it seems impossible to overcome? Imagine a wall. It's towering, it's intimidating, it's seemingly insurmountable. But what if I told you that every brick in that wall represents an opportunity to grow, to learn, to become stronger? Let's talk about resilience, the ability to bounce back in the face of adversity. It's not an innate trait, but rather something that's honed and developed through experiences. It's about understanding that failure isn't fatal, but rather a stepping stone to success. Consider the story of J.K. Rowling, the renowned author of the Harry Potter series. Before she penned the first line of what would become a globally beloved series, she faced numerous obstacles. She was a single mother struggling to make ends meet, and her manuscript was rejected by not one, not two, but 12 publishers. It would have been easy for her to give up, to succumb to the weight of her circumstances. But she didn't. She chose resilience. She chose to see each rejection not as a confirmation of failure, but as a challenge to improve. And when she finally saw her work in print, it wasn't just a personal victory, it was a testament to the power of persistence, a beacon of hope for every aspiring writer who's ever been told no. So what's your wall? What's the obstacle that's standing in your way? Maybe it's a dream job that feels out of reach, a personal goal that seems too big to achieve, or a relationship that's proving difficult to mend. Whatever it is, remember this. You have the power to overcome. You have the resilience to bounce back. You have the strength to turn every no into a not yet, every setback into a comeback. Remember, it's not about how many times you get knocked down, it's about how many times you get back up. So, rise up. Break down that wall. Your success story is waiting to be written. Do you ever feel like you're running a race with no finish line in sight? The sentiment is not uncommon. We set lofty goals, we strive, we reach, and yet sometimes it feels as though the finish line keeps moving further away. But let me share something with you, a little secret that might just change your perspective. The journey, my friends, matters just as much as the destination, if not more. Consider the story of a marathon runner, let's call him John. John loved to run. He wasn't the fastest nor the strongest, but he had a passion for it. So he decided to run a marathon. He set his sights on that finish line, 26.2 grueling miles away. He trained, he pushed, he sweated, and he strived. But do you know what John found? It wasn't the moment he crossed the finish line that he relished most. It was the countless hours of training, the early mornings when he laced up his running shoes and hit the road while the world was still asleep. It was the rhythm of his breathing, the feeling of his heart beating in his chest, the exhilaration of feeling his body push past its limits. It was the journey that brought him joy, not just the destination. So, what can we learn from John? That it's not just about reaching your destination, it's about enjoying the journey and growing along the way. It's about embracing the process, the hard work, the sweat, and the struggle. It's about finding joy in the small victories, the progress, the growth. Because the truth is, the finish line is important, yes, but it's not everything. It's the journey that shapes us, that molds us, that makes us who we are. And when we learn to appreciate that journey, we find a deeper sense of fulfillment, a richer sense of accomplishment. So, remember, as you strive for your goals, as you reach for your dreams, don't forget to appreciate the journey. After all, it's not just about reaching your destination, it's about enjoying the journey and growing along the way. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? That's a question we often ask ourselves, isn't it? But have you ever stopped to consider why we're so afraid of failure? Is it because we fear judgment, or is it the fear of disappointing ourselves that holds us back? It's time we reframe our perspective on failure. Consider the story of a successful entrepreneur, let's call him John. John didn't have it easy. He was not born with a silver spoon, nor did he have an Ivy League education. Instead, he had a dream, a vision, and a relentless drive to succeed. But his journey was anything but smooth. He faced numerous rejections, countless sleepless nights, and a multitude of failures. But did he let these setbacks define him? No. Instead, he chose to see them as stepping stones towards his goal. Each failure was a lesson learned, a mistake to avoid in the future. Each rejection was a motivation to work harder, to prove them wrong. John didn't see failure as an end, but as a beginning, a new opportunity to try again, to do better. And eventually, after many trials and tribulations, he achieved his dream. He built a successful business from the ground up and proved to the world that failure is not a dead end but a detour on the road to success. So, what can we learn from John's story? It's simple. Don't let the fear of failure hold you back. Embrace it, learn from it, grow from it. Because the only real failure is when you stop trying. It's when you let your dreams die in the face of adversity. It's when you give up on yourself. So no matter how hard the journey gets, no matter how many times you fall, rise, dust yourself off, and keep going. Because every setback is a setup for a comeback. Every failure is a stepping stone towards success. Every no is a step closer to a yes. So remember, don't stop, keep going. Because the only real failure is when you stop trying.